important thing, what you will need to work on during the process of self-development is to learn how to overcome your fears. The topic that we will never discuss enough. But why do we allow our fears to imprison us? And how do we overcome our fears?
Like we said earlier, start with, like you said, Mario, that first step, face the milestone. Do that first thing, because the first is always the hardest. The second time and the third time around, it's easy, and then you get to the 30%. The 70% is just to face that fear and to come to terms with, this is my fear. And most of the time what we do, we deny our fears. We will pretend that we're not afraid, but in essence we are afraid. And when we realize, and when we face the fact that we are afraid, and being honest with ourselves and tell ourselves that we are afraid, that is already a first step into the right direction.
It is, because like I said earlier, I was reminded of when you were telling the kids about how our brains are conditioned to protect ourselves, and where this question comes in, where it asks, why do we allow our fears to imprison us, is because the fear has to be triggered in order to protect ourselves, to keep you from making the next move. But how do you overcome it is by what we have just said earlier, without saying it enough, to just go into it, go through that, because it is going to subside. It is going to subside, and you're going to have to communicate to your brain back then that I can do this. Come on, stop telling me that I can't. Stop telling me that this is not, I cannot do this and I have to protect myself, otherwise this and this will happen to me or to my kids or to my family. Stop telling me that, okay? Just understand my own, tell your own brain that I will do this, and then you actually do it, and then you see. It's easy.
For me, I wanted to add this as well. For me, one of my biggest fears was being away from my family for long periods of time. I was so conditioned and used to being around them the whole time. Like, what was going to happen if I was faced with a few challenges on my own? What am I going to do? And the moment came, and then I saw somewhere the first time, I saw a quote once again where it said, life basically begins outside of your comfort zone. And I didn't, I asked myself, how does life begin outside of your comfort zone? And actually 2 years ago, when I decided to leave the house and go to Windhoek, for possible job opportunities, because a lot of the opportunities were in Windhoek as well, and I took the big leap, and honestly today I have to say I do not regret it. The moment I got there, it was a little bit hard to adjust, but once you really get into it, you see that you start meeting new people, you network, like it just grows, like the amount of people that you get to meet, like
and so much that come out of yourself that you get to know about yourself that you've never discovered before, that makes this process easier. And I mean, it takes deliberate action. It takes that deliberate action to actually do this. Because I have to, just because I fear this, I have to do this. And so many of us don't get to do what we're supposed to do because of this, because we are imprisoned by our own fears. And we're stagnant, and it's by our own doing. It's by our own doing. But it's understandable, because this fear is a very strong, it's a strong sense, it's a strong chemical, it's a strong force. And only by breaking through. No one can come and break you out of it, because it happens within you. It's even within your mind. It has to be broken by yourself. And the only way that you'll be able to do this, guys, is like we said earlier, without stopping and ending with saying, is to go through that. You have to tell yourself, I have to go through this, just because I have to communicate back to myself that I can do it.